Hello everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Drawing from Home. I'm your host, Miss Dylan. So today guys, we are going to go ahead and learn how to draw some landscapes. So we're going to do one landscape in particular, and we've done kind of some of them in class before, where we've drawn mountains or hilltops, that sort of thing. Today we're going to go ahead and learn how to draw a beach landscape. So for those of you who don't remember what a landscape is, landscapes are basically the outside, so kind of scenery. So the landscape here, we have this really lovely mountain lake. So we have all of this mountain up here, and then we have this big forest. Another example would be this river here. Okay. So basically anything outside. And that's kind of a general way of saying it, but whenever you're looking outside and you see nature, that is landscape. And usually with landscapes, you're really not seeing much of human interaction. So we're going to focus mostly on just the nature aspect of it today. So we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we're going to draw a beach. So there's a couple different types, types of beaches that we can draw. We're going to go ahead and draw just kind of a simple beach landscape. So just to kind of jog your memory. Now some of these won't look too much like the beaches that we are familiar with. This is more of sort of a Caribbean beach. Okay. We're going to go ahead and draw a beach, obviously with the sand, the ocean, that sort of thing. We're going to drop some sand dunes in there as well. So, the first thing that we need to think about is what is called the horizon line. Now, if we look at, let's look at this guy right over here, hold on. If we're looking at this picture right here, the horizon line is really easy to find because it is where the earth meets the sky. So this is our horizon line, so right here. And I'm finding that so this is where the end of the ocean is. So basically where it sort of recedes into the distance. Okay? And then that is where it is touching the sky. If that makes sense. So it's a straight line. If we look at some other examples, let's see. These are kind of harder to show you guys. This one here. So again, if you see where the sky is touching the end of the ocean here, just like that. Now in some pictures, so like, let's take this one for example. It's kind of hard to find the direct horizon line because there's not, it's usually with the grass where it's touching. So I would probably say it's like down here. Or even higher, okay? Doesn't have to be perfect, but that's basically what we're going to start off with. So first things first, take your paper, put it long ways across, but make sure it's not tall, okay? So this is what we call our landscape variation. Alright, and that's where it gets that name from. Because landscapes are usually long. You see all this long, okay? So, very, very gently. Don't dig in very hard at all, okay? If you dig in too hard, obviously if you mess up, you're gonna have to erase it later. Just go ahead and draw a straight line about in the middle of your paper. If you do it a little higher, that's okay. Make sure it's not too low though. So make sure it's not all the way down here. So about halfway, a little higher if you want to. This is where our ocean is going to end. Okay, it's a weird way of saying it, but just hang on with me. So there's our horizon line. Okay, so this is going to be that line here. Alright, let's go ahead and do that. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do next, what I kind of want to do is add some element of maybe a foreground, a background, and middle ground, okay? So we've talked about this in class before, at least with some of us we have. So the foreground are things very close up to the camera. So a foreground for this would be our palm trees, okay? Because they're close to the camera. The mid ground would probably be the grass, because it's about in the middle, or not the grass, the sand. Okay, and then the background would be the ocean. Okay, so there's 3 elements that we're gonna do. So we've started kind of with the background. So what I want us to do is figure out where the end of your ocean is. So like where the sand is meeting the ocean. So all you're gonna do is do another straight line. And this one can be a little wiggly, because it is sand, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm just gonna kind of, don't go like this. Or don't go too jagged with it, okay? Just very slight wiggles, just like that, okay? So now we have our ocean, we have our sand. So we have our background, and you don't have to draw it or write this, I'm just doing this for you. Background and then the middle ground. Okay? So now what we have to do is give it some details, because you know, we can't really tell what this is yet. So a couple things that we can do. Let's go ahead and add a foreground. So if you've been to the beaches around here, I'm sure almost all of us have, is you know that we have the lovely sand dunes, okay? And the sand dunes are kind of like very, very small mounds of sand, pretty much. Very, very tiny hills, if you want to think about it like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one over here. And all I'm doing is I'm coming in from the side. I'm just going to do like a little diagonal line. And it doesn't have to be exactly like mine. Okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. So something like that maybe. Maybe something like this. Bring them in like that. Yeah, something like that. If you want to do another one over here, because obviously, you know, when you go to the beach, there's the path. Usually there's the sand dunes on either side. So if you want to do something like that, you can do that too. So I'm going to do a littler sand dune over here. If you want to do only one, that's cool. Totally up to you. Again, just like usual, you don't have to completely copy me. This is your picture. They can be bigger, they can be smaller. If you do want them to kind of go over like this, kind of covering up some part of your ocean, that's cool too. Up to you. Because basically the viewer looking at your picture is like standing back in the path almost. So imagine that you're walking up to the ocean and you're just got out of your car or off your bike or what have you, and you're walking up the path to get to the shore. You're not quite there yet. This is what you're seeing. Okay, so if the sand dune can be on top of the, almost like covering up that ocean, almost like how a mountain. Let's see, how a mountain can cover up parts of, you know, something else. So like this mountain here, this hill is covering up part of this mountain. You see that? Because this mountain is overlapping this one, so it means it's in front. Because it's in front. Okay? Doesn't mean that it's kind of making this part of the mountain disappear. It's just in front. So same thing with this, if you want to go ahead and do that. Alright, so now that you have your sand dunes, what we're going to go ahead and do is add our palm trees. Okay? Actually, no, let's do our clouds first. So clouds are pretty easy to draw. I'm sure you guys have drawn clouds before. There's a couple ways to do it. Now, of course, you can do sort of the curlies like this. If you want to do something like that. And don't add too much of these. You don't really want a cloudy day when you're at the beach, right? What I would go ahead and do is maybe like 2 or 3. If you want to do clouds a little different. Now clouds, let me show you guys a picture real fast. They come in a lot of different sizes, okay? And obviously we've all seen clouds before. But just to kind of jog your memory. So you have the usual big fluffy clouds like this. But they seem like these long guys here. So that's kind of cool too. So I want to add some of those cool shapes. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of those curlies. And then maybe I could do a straight line. Okay? Something like this. Okay? Do something here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, I'm going to keep 2. And you can have them sort of come off the page like that. So like this, they don't have to completely fit. So if you want one kind of coming off the side like that, you can do that. Okay. So now what we're going to do, now that we have some clouds, and like usual, if you're falling behind, if I'm going too fast, just pause the video to catch up. Alright? So, but now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and draw, or at least add some elements of the ocean. Okay? Now let's see, where am I? Yeah. So obviously you're going to have these ripples, right? You have the foam coming in, the flotsam and jetsam, that sort of thing. So what you can do is add some lines, kind of some squiggly lines from left to right. Now, I wouldn't make these too dark, because otherwise if you do it too dark, once you go ahead and color over them, they're going to kind of meld in, like kind of make the ocean look a little, I don't want to say dirty, but a little too textured, if that makes sense. Okay, so just some squiggly lines. I wouldn't do too much. Okay. If you want to make it more cartoony, you can kind of do, you know, the wave motion. That's totally fine too. And then what we're also going to go ahead and do is add some foam at the very edge. Okay, so all you're going to do is where your beach is connecting, or where your ocean is connecting with the sand, is you're going to go ahead and draw, so if you see here the flotsam, that white part, is you're going to do like a very tiny, and this might take a couple times. Okay, don't worry too much if it does. Almost like almost kind of like the clouds, honestly. Just kind of curlies. Something like that. Now, if you're not liking how that's looking, that's fine. You don't have to do it. I'm going to go ahead and erase that dark line where they were connecting the sand to the beach, or the ocean to the beach, excuse me. I'm just going to go ahead and do it like this. And remember, see, this is why we draw light, because we can erase things later. So that line that I just erased is completely gone now, so I have room for, you know, this stuff up here. So something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, again. It doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe parts of it can be straight, that sort of thing. As the waves are coming in. Right? So, now that we have some detail with the ocean, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to work on the foreground, so our sand dune up here. So here and here. Okay. So, with the sand dunes, they have the plants that you're not supposed to walk on. It's like the salt marsh grass, that kind of thing. All you're really going to do is kind of add some element of that. I'm going to show you guys a couple different things of what you can do. So just for the grass, it's kind of large sort of blades. Now all I'm really doing with this is it's kind of a curvy, grassy shape. So something like this. Okay? So think of it almost like an upside down, curvy V. And you don't have to do too much of this. And then I can go up here. And do you see how it's covering up the ocean? That's totally fine. Go in and erase where the ocean is still kind of peeking through. Because then, see how the grass is overlapping the ocean? That's because it's in front of the ocean. And just like with anything else, if you put something in front of it, the thing behind it is going to disappear. It's still there, for sure, but it's going to disappear. If you're having trouble like visualizing this, stop drawing, and what I want you to do is put your hands up and put your left hand in front of your right hand. And you notice how your right hand has disappeared a little bit? You see more of your left hand. You might see a little bit of your right hand, but your left hand is definitely prominent. So it's the same thing with this. The grass, because of perspective, because of where you're standing, the grass is covering up part of the ocean. So something like that, okay? Yeah, I like that. I'm just going to do kind of two little bushels over here. You can add more, of course. A little bit more over here, erasing the ocean that's peeking through. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Cool. You can do it on both sides if you want to. So maybe I'll do like a little one down here. Something like that. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and do a palm tree. Okay. Now this can be kind of a difficult shape to get at first, just because of how palm trees are shaped. So just kind of bear with me for a little bit, okay? So, if you still have room, you're going to go to your other sand dune. Let's go ahead and do this one over here. We're going to have the palm tree kind of almost like peeking into the picture, kind of like over, I guess kind of like the one that we have this here. Not quite in the middle like this one is, but almost like it's peeking over the sand dune. Okay, so what I want you to do is kind of go in with a curvy line. So here's one curvy line. Something like this. Sort of like an S kind of shape. You see that? And then you're going to go ahead and complete it like this. And then erase anything that's in the middle. Okay. And then go ahead and top it off. So almost like a tube, almost. And you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, up to you. Okay. Now, it might take a couple tries to do this shape, but don't worry too much about it. Okay? Like I said, it's a little bit of a harder shape. That's totally fine. And what we're going to go ahead and do is kind of add the bark. So the bark is very different from usual trees. It kind of has segments. So all we're going to do is go down the side. We're just going to add lines from one side to the other. Pretty easy. Okay? So, palm trees have these really big leaves, okay? Let's see if I can grab a picture super fast. I mean, everyone knows what a palm tree looks like. They're everywhere around here. But they have really big, just so I can kind of jog your memory. See how these big leaves? It's kind of hard to draw, so we're going to simplify these down, okay? So, with this in mind, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start from the middle, okay? And we're going to do sort of jagged leaf shapes like this. Now it's a little hard, okay? If you can't do this jagged shape, all you're going to do, again, start from the middle, do a large sort of, just like a regular leaf shape almost. Something like this. Alright? So big leaf shape. I'm going to show you guys what a trick you can do with this leaf shape. Go again from the middle. So you see how this one is disappearing behind this leaf right here? Just like we mentioned with our hand trick, okay? That leaf is in front, so it's going to kind of disappear behind it. So again, big leaves. And as you're getting towards the top, kind of make sure they're curving outward, because some, they don't really pop, they don't really like stick out like this. They curve, okay? So they curve down because they're really big, heavy leaves. And again, it's going to take you a couple tries. You see it with me. I've already done this leaf 3 times. Just going to redo it a couple times. Totally fine. That's why we sketch very light, so we can erase and start again. Okay, we're going to erase these. Go and erase any of the ocean that's peeking through. Something like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and do, so if you look at our example again, do you see how you can't really see where the end, or like where the bark ends? So what we're gonna do is, and that's because the leaves are covering over it. So you see how they're kind of curling over like that? What we're gonna do is, you see this is where the top is, but we don't wanna see that. So all you're gonna do is like draw another leaf on top, and then erase like that. Okay, just like that. And you're probably thinking, alright, Miss Dillon, this looks nothing like a palm tree. We're gonna do a trick, okay? So let's do like one more over here. Yeah, we'll do it something like that, because I don't really like that empty space here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is make those kind of more jagged edges that you guys saw me draw at first. So first things first, you're gonna start from one end of the leaf, and you're just gonna do like the vein in the center. So if you've ever drawn leaves before, just draw it like a regular leaf. Just like that. Okay. And again, if I'm going too fast, pause the video. I'll pause here for a second so you guys can catch up if you don't want to pause. Just gonna fix up some of my lines. I'll draw another one in there. Now once you do that, I'm just going to fix this real fast. This is kind of the harder part, but nothing harder than we've done before. Okay. Is you're going to go in and you're going to draw like, basically like little triangles on the side. Now this is going to look a little weird, for sure. But it's going to make sense in a second here. So notice when I'm drawing these triangles, so let's look at this triangle, or this leaf right here that I'm doing. I'm doing triangles, triangle. The points of the triangle are pointing towards the inside of the leaf. So they're not going like up, or they're not going like out. Okay, they're pointing inside of the leaf. You see this? Now on the other side, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the same triangle pointing inward. You see that? So if I have an example here, so let's say we've got a leaf. Well, that's not a great leaf, isn't it? Okay. So I see some mistakes with this before. So let's say we want to go ahead and do the leaf. Alright, so inside. Inside. Do you see how they're pointing towards the middle there? Just like that. Okay? Make sure they're not like this, or like going down or anything like that. Make sure they're pointing inside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of these. And if you want to make them bigger than mine, totally fine. Especially if you have smaller hands. Sometimes I know doing small details like this can be a little hard. And if it's really hard for you, you don't have to. Okay? It's all up to your comfort level. I would say go ahead and try. But if you're getting frustrated, or if nothing's turning out okay, that's totally fine. Alright. Now, what we're going to do, and again, if you need to, I know this might take a while, but pause the video until you're ready. So if you are ready, what we're going to do is we're going to erase basically where, so if we have a triangle here, right, you're going to erase the bottom of the triangle. So erasing the bottom of the triangle. Erasing. Erasing. And you're going to do that on either side. And you're going to have to sort of redo some of your lines like I just had to do there. So erasing here, erasing here. And go ahead and do that for every single one. And you guys see how that's getting more of a jagged palm tree shape of the leaves? That, you know, you usually know what palm tree leaves look like. Kind of a little trick. And then once I'm done with this, again, I'm going to clean up my lines so they look a little better. I'll show you guys how to do that too. So something like that. Okay, so you see how cooler that looks rather than sort of the big leaves? So you kind of have this idea of the jagged edges now. You can go in and darken them up. So something like this. And any like straight leaves, like you can make them pointy. Like that. Just kind of go in and make a point to them rather than that hard edge. Kind of going in. Oh, forgot this one here. Just going in and darkening up those lines. See how I'm making them pointed now? Palm tree leaves are very pointy, very jagged. So again, go ahead and do that. Oh. Darken up your lines when you're starting to get happy with them. This is definitely the hardest part of this drawing. And if you're getting here so far, I'm super stoked, super proud of y'all. I've done a lot of different drawings, and this palm tree is definitely one of the harder ones. Just because there's so much things you have to keep in mind, like making it pointy, making sure you're erasing the right part of the triangle, that kind of thing. So yeah, something like that. It's going to be our palm tree. Okay. I'm going to erase here. Now, for our final touches. So we got our ocean, we got our foreground. A couple more things you can do. If you want to have it be a sunset or a sunrise, all you're going to do is, because this is where our horizon line, so the horizon, you know, where the sky meets the ground, or in this case the ocean. The sun's going to peak up, because obviously when the earth is round, we can't see the whole side of the earth on this side here. So it's going to peak up. It sort of rises around the side of the globe here as our lovely world is spinning. Something like this. And this might take you a couple times to get this nice curve. So something like that. Now, of course, the sun is smaller than that in actuality. If you want to do something more realistic, you can do something small like that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do it small, just because it's going to give me more to color, and I'll show you why. Okay. And this can also be the moon. Okay. I'm going to show you guys a couple different examples of coloring. If you want to do the moon here up too, or the sun up here, you don't have to do sunset. So you do here, you do the moon, like that, up to you. And it really does like beach nighttime. I kind of like that. If you want to do beach nighttime, do a circle, and then make a curved line inside for the sort of a moon shape, and then erase that. All right. So, but this is basically done. Again, kind of a harder landscape, especially with a palm tree. If you don't have anything to color with, that's fine. You could be finished. But if you do have something to color with, go ahead and start fixing up any lines. So I'm just going to darken up my clouds a little bit. Darken up some of my guys here, just so it'll be easier to color around. Let's see, here. Yeah, something like this. All right. So get a nice light tan. Very, very light, almost like a peachy color. Go ahead and do that for your sand. I'm gonna do a little bit more yellow. Yeah, something like that should be okay. Alright. So I'm gonna start coloring this in for you guys as you see the final results. Maybe a little lighter. Yeah, something like that. And then our blue. I would do a dark, dark blue for our ocean. Okay? Because, maybe not that dark. Because the ocean is very rich blue color. It's gonna take me a couple tries to get this color. Everyone always thinks when you're sort of painting, everyone always thinks the ocean is very light. Let me show you an example. Ocean's very dark, y'all. Hold on. You'll see that? It's not like a light blue color. Oh. See, it's not like a light blue. It's gonna be almost like an aquamarine kind of color. Something like this. If you have sort of a dark blue like this, you can go ahead and use that. Go in and color this in. What you can also do, what is also an awesome thing, if you want to add some extra pizzazz to your stuff is going with different types of blue. So maybe if you do part of your blue here, maybe you can do another light blue, like coming in like this. Remember those wiggly lines that we drew? Think of those maybe as different currents. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? If you cross some of the lines, it's fine. Remember, our lines are just kind of a guideline. So you can do that. Oops, sorry, my dog's barking. Just go here. Blue. Now it's not the time to bark, bud. Thank you, good girl. Sorry for that. And then maybe even a little bit of purple. Because purple, oh, maybe not that purple. Let's go with, yeah, something like this. Add some here. Something like that. Even some like gray kind of blue would be okay. I'm just kind of filling in. Okay. So now I'm going to do the white for the flotsam. So sort of the flotsam and jetsam as it comes in, sort of the foam. Just kind of fill that in. Where it's touching the ocean, or excuse me, the sand. Keep messing those two up. See, I'm not gonna add a lot. Just something like that. Okay. And then what you can do is do like, what are they called? Like the peaks, little ocean peaks, wind peaks. You know where the wind kind of kicks up the ocean and gets those sort of little crests. Just gonna add some like, almost like little white lines almost. Don't make them too big. And don't make too many, so that's too many for me, I think. Yeah, something like this. Okay. Just some examples of that. And you don't have to do that. Okay, you don't have to. But just some ways that we can color it differently. Okay? So what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and do the sand dunes. So the sand dunes, of course, are going to be about the same color as the sand because it's made of the same stuff. But I'm going to make it a slightly darker version. You see that? Just a little bit darker. Now, if you don't have a similar color or like a darker color of the sand, that's fine. You could just do it the same color. All right. Now, we're going to go ahead and do our grass, sort of sand dune grass. Make these pretty dark green. They're very rich, lovely green. I really like the colors of these guys. So here, I'm gonna go like this. Okay, here too. And take your time with this like usual. Make sure there's no negative space, no white parts that you're leaving behind. Let's go ahead and do the palm tree. Palm tree is going to be a little lighter green. Just a little bit though, not too much. You don't want it to be sort of a neon green. Okay. Oh, that's not right. Okay, let's go here. And of course this is a little faster for me because I have this digital stuff. But do take your time. Okay, and then the dark brown for your bark here, for your trunk. That's a little too dark. Ah! Yeah, something like this. I kind of like that. Okay. And then let's do our clouds. Clouds gonna be white, of course. You can just leave them. I'm just gonna leave them, honestly. So leave those. Let's go ahead and do our background now. So the sky. So if you just want to do blue, you can do that. Make sure the blue's not too dark. Our sky really isn't that sort of rich, so something like this would be fine. So remember that sort of light blue if you want to do something like this. And then I'll have to sort of erase my clouds because my tool didn't work. You can do something like this. Okay. And then do a yellow sun, of course. You can also do a sunset or sunrise, whichever. So still make sure that your sun is yellow. Okay. Now for a sunset, obviously it's going to be yellow, orange, and red. Okay. The warm colors of our color wheel, which is kind of funny. Okay. So what we're going to go ahead and start out with is get those colors if you don't already have them. So let's go ahead and start off with our yellow. So if it's sunrise, we're going to do our yellows down here. And basically you're splitting up your picture. Actually, let me, yeah. You're splitting up your sky into 3 parts: yellow, orange, and red. Do yellow. Actually, do I want to do red on top or red on the bottom? Let's see. I'm going to switch it. Hold on. We're going to do red first. Sorry about that, guys. I'm thinking of something else. Okay. Oh, that's not right. So get your red first. Your red's going to go near the horizon line, okay? Go here. That. Get your orange. Make sure you're not coloring in your clouds. We'll talk about the clouds with the sunset in a second. They're going to be a little different, believe it or not. See that? We're going to do our yellow. Let's just color this in. Something like this. See that? Wonderful. Got a sunset going. Now what I would do for the clouds, I would not, if you are doing a sunset like this, I would not leave them white, because the cloud color is not actually white. It's like reflective of like the sky, and if the sky is bright orange and like on fire, it is not going to be bright white. Okay, so what I would do is I would go in with a very, very light orange if you have one, and this is going to look a little weird, or even a yellow. Kind of give it this sort of idea, okay? Something like that, or even almost like a peachy color, sort of a rosy pink color. This is okay. That kind of fits the tone a little bit more. Okay, because remember, clouds are basically just vapor. Okay, they're pretty see-through when you get close to them. So the reflecting and the color, they're kind of hovering around. So something like this. Okay. Now, if you don't like how that's looking, that's okay. If you want to keep them white, it's up to you. But I find if I keep my clouds white, they kind of tend to stick out in sunsets and kind of bully their way to the front for your attention, and you really want to be focusing more on everything else. So something like this, okay? Like that. Now, if you don't want to do the sunset, if you want to do maybe I'm giving you guys a couple of different examples, but if you want to do a nighttime, obviously you can do dark. Nighttime beach would be pretty cool, in my opinion. And the clouds are going to be sort of a dark gray. Let's see. Oh, let's do something like this. Nope. Fine, I'll go ahead and color it. So dark gray cloud. I'll do a little darker, honestly. Yeah. Because again, if you're thinking about going outside at night, when you look up, you don't see bright white clouds. You see sort of the gray clouds because it's not light out. Now, of course, our sun is going to be a moon, so that's going to be that same gray as the clouds. Maybe a little lighter. It's like that. Up to you. Okay. I'll keep my sunset, I think. But that is it, pretty much. Again, I know this is a little bit of a harder one. At least with the palm tree it was. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I would love to see more of your pictures. I have seen some of y'all's, and I'm so impressed with how you guys are doing. They look awesome. So I will see you guys next time. I hope you had fun drawing with me, and I will see you later. Bye.